Mercedes-Benz lost nearly two-thirds of its profit in just 2 years. Its most important market turned against it. Its electric flagship became a warning sign, and one AMG decision made loyal customers ask a question Mercedes never wanted to hear. Does Mercedes still understand what people loved about Mercedes? Because this is not a story about a company that forgot how to build cars. Mercedes still sells millions of vehicles. It still has iconic products. It still has one of the most powerful badges in the world. But beneath the badge, something changed. Mercedes spent years trying to become more exclusive, more profitable, more technological, more optimized. And for a while, it looked brilliant. Then the numbers started breaking. China weakened. EV demand disappointed. AMG fans pushed back. Discounts appeared. And suddenly, the question was no longer whether Mercedes was still a luxury brand. The question was whether Mercedes had misunderstood luxury itself, because people were never just paying for transportation. They were paying for status, identity, sound, presence, desire, and Mercedes may have optimized the one thing that should never have been reduced to a spreadsheet. To understand how that happened, you have to go back to the moment the strategy looked genius. Around 2022, Mercedes introduced a new direction called economics of desire. The idea was simple: sell fewer cars, sell more expensive cars, push customers higher into premium categories, focus less on volume and more on profit. On paper, it made perfect sense. Luxury brands are not supposed to chase everyone. They are supposed to feel rare. They are supposed to make people want access. And at first, the numbers seemed to prove Mercedes right. Supply shortages limited production across the industry. Cars became harder to find. Customers had less room to negotiate. Prices rose. Margins expanded. Profits surged. Mercedes looked like it had cracked the code. It was not just selling cars, it was selling desire. But shortages can create illusions. When supply is tight, almost everything looks desirable. Customers tolerate higher prices. Dealers have more power. Weak demand gets hidden. And when the market normalizes, the truth comes back. You find out whether people wanted the product or whether they simply had fewer choices. Mercedes was about to find out. The first major warning came from a car that was supposed to represent the future. The EQS, this was Mercedes' electric flagship. A car built to show that the company could enter the EV era without losing its luxury authority. Technically, it had everything Mercedes wanted to prove: advanced electric architecture, aerodynamic efficiency, large screens, comfort, technology, innovation. But there was a problem. The EQS looked futuristic, but many people did not feel it looked like a Mercedes flagship. It was smooth, rounded, efficient, but not instantly commanding, not instantly iconic, not the kind of car that made people stop and think. That is the future of luxury. And that matters because luxury does not work like normal transportation. A normal car can be practical. A luxury car has to mean something. It has to make the buyer feel like they bought more than features. And the EQS exposed a dangerous possibility. Mercedes had built something technically impressive that did not create enough emotional gravity. It was advanced. But was it desirable? That question became even more dangerous when Mercedes made another decision. This time, not with its electric future, but with one of its most emotional nameplates. The C63 was never just a compact performance sedan. It was theater. A V8 in a car that felt almost too aggressive for its class. The sound mattered, the excess mattered, the drama mattered. Even people who never owned one understood what it represented. It was AMG at its most emotional. Then Mercedes changed the formula. The newer C63 replaced the traditional V8 with a four-cylinder hybrid system. On paper, the decision had logic: more efficiency, more technology, more complexity, strong performance figures. The car was still fast, but the reaction showed Mercedes something numbers could not. Customers were not just buying speed. They were buying the feeling of speed. They were buying sound. They were buying character. They were buying continuity with what AMG had always meant. And when that changed, the backlash became bigger than an engine debate. It became a brand debate. Because if the numbers improve, but the desire disappears, What did you actually improve? Eventually, AMG leadership admitted they had overestimated how willing customers would be to accept the change. That admission is one of the clearest signs of the whole story. Mercedes evaluated the product through measurable progress. Customers evaluated it through emotional meaning, and those are not the same thing. Then came the market where mistakes became impossible to ignore: China. For years, China was one of the most important engines of luxury car growth. It was massive, profitable, status-driven, and essential to the global luxury strategy. But China changed faster than many legacy automakers expected. Domestic brands improved rapidly. EVs became software products. Younger buyers wanted screens, connectivity, fast updates, local relevance, and surprise features. Chinese luxury buyers were no longer impressed by a badge alone, and that created a brutal problem for Mercedes. Because for decades, German engineering and brand heritage carried enormous weight. But in the new Chinese EV market, heritage was not enough. A Mercedes badge still mattered, but it no longer automatically won. Local competitors offered technology that felt newer, software that felt more native, products that moved faster, and prices that made traditional German luxury look exposed. This is why China is not just a sales problem. China is a mirror. It shows what happens when old prestige meets a buyer who wants a different kind of luxury. Not just leather and legacy, but speed, software, personalization, digital experience, and the feeling that the product belongs to the future. Mercedes was not only competing with other German brands anymore, it was competing with a new definition of premium. Then came the thing luxury brands fear most: discounting. Because when a normal product gets discounted, buyers see a deal. But when a luxury product gets discounted too aggressively, buyers start asking a dangerous question. Was it ever worth the original price? Luxury depends on belief. Belief that the product is rare. Belief that the badge means something. Belief that the price is justified. The moment that belief weakens, the whole structure becomes fragile. That is why brands like Ferrari and Rolex protect scarcity so aggressively. They understand that the price is not just a number. It is part of the spell. And when Mercedes had to respond to pressure with discounts, especially around some EV models, it threatened that spell because the customer who bought early feels punished. The customer who waited feels trained to wait longer, and the market starts to wonder whether the product was truly desirable or simply overpriced. This is where Mercedes' luxury strategy became dangerous. The company wanted to move higher, but moving higher only works if customers believe the product deserves to be there. If that belief cracks, higher prices stop looking exclusive. They start looking disconnected. But this is not a story about Mercedes being finished. That would be too simple, and honestly, it would be wrong. Mercedes still has products that prove the brand has enormous power. The G-Class is the clearest example. The G-Class does not need a complicated explanation. Its shape alone communicates status, power, history, presence. It looks like nothing else. You see it once, and you understand what it is. That is what the EQS struggled to do. That is what the C63 controversy revealed, and that is what makes the G-Class so important to the story. It proves Mercedes still knows how to create desire. AMG still has strength. Maybach still carries status. The three-pointed star still has weight. So the problem is not that Mercedes became irrelevant overnight. The problem is more specific and more dangerous. Some Mercedes products still understand the emotional contract. Others seem to have tried to replace it with optimization. This is the real tension inside Mercedes. The company is not choosing between innovation and tradition. It needs both. It has to electrify. It has to compete in software. It has to respond to China. It has to manage regulations, shareholders, costs, and new competitors. No serious automaker can ignore those pressures. But luxury brands face a harder problem than normal automakers. They cannot just become more efficient. They have to stay meaningful. They cannot just add technology. They have to preserve identity. They cannot just improve numbers. They have to protect the feeling that made people care. Because customers do not always remember the specification sheet. They remember how the product made them feel. They remember the sound, the presence, the status, the sense that they own something with character. And that is where Mercedes may have made its biggest mistake. It treated desire like something that could be engineered from the top down. Pricing strategy, portfolio strategy, EV strategy, technology strategy. But desire is not that clean. It is emotional. It is cultural. It is irrational. And sometimes the most valuable parts of a luxury brand are the hardest to measure. Mercedes will survive. That is not the real question. The real question is, what kind of Mercedes survives? A Mercedes that competes on software and battery range like everyone else, or a Mercedes that remembers why people wanted the badge before the numbers? Because the danger is not that Mercedes suddenly builds bad cars. The danger is that it builds technically better cars that feel less special. And in luxury, that difference matters. A car can be faster and less desirable, more advanced and less memorable, more optimized and less emotional. That may be the lesson Mercedes is learning now. The product was never just horsepower. It was never just efficiency. It was never just screens, margins, or pricing power. The real product was the feeling. And if Mercedes loses that, then it does not need to collapse to lose something important. It only needs to become ordinary.